We often pride ourselves on our ability to think, but there is a dangerous deception at play here. Overthinking feels like being productive. We convince ourselves that by agonizing over every detail, we are working hard on a solution, but in reality, we are just spinning our wheels in the mud. The human brain is a survival machine, yet it lacks a sense of scale. Your overthinking brain doesn't know the difference between a tiger in the ancient forest and an awkward moment in a business meeting. It triggers the same fight or flight response for a missed email as it does for a life-threatening predator. This is the architecture of a ghost house. We build massive fortifications for threats that only exist in our imagination, exhausting our spirits before the day even begins. To break the cycle, we must first recognize the shape of our own prison. Overthinking isn't a single voice, it is a committee of architects, each building a different kind of ghost house. Psychologists often point to three distinct patterns of this mental redlining. The rumination loop, the ghost of the past. These are the architects who spend their nights rebuilding old ruins. They replay past conversations, analyzing a sigh or a stutter from 3 years ago. They believe that if they just look at the wreckage one more time, they can change the ending. But you cannot edit a finished film by watching it on repeat. The worry spiral, the fortress of the future. These architects build walls against things that haven't happened yet. They are obsessed with pre-solving catastrophes. They believe anxiety is a form of preparation. But worry is like paying a debt you don't even owe yet. It drains your current resources to fund a future that may never arrive. The overanalyzer, the perfectionist's map. These are the architects of the perfect choice. They cannot order a coffee or start a project without checking every variable. They believe that information is safety. But in the real world, 100% certainty is a myth. By the time they finish the map, the landscape has already changed. Whether you are rebuilding the past, fortifying the future, or mapping the impossible, you are still just spinning your wheels in the mud. In the prison of overthinking, we believe that if we just think harder, the path will become clear. But the opposite is true. Overthinking is like muddy water. The harder you stir it, the cloudier it becomes. By constantly processing our fears, we're just kicking up more silt, making it impossible to see the bottom. We forget a fundamental truth. An emotional experience cannot be solved by thinking. Psychologically, there is a difference between reflection and rumination. Reflection is looking in a mirror to adjust your path. Rumination is staring at the mirror until you forget you have a path to walk. You cannot analyze your way out of grief or rationalize your way out of anxiety. These things are to be felt, not solved like a math equation. When we try to use logic to fix a feeling, we end up in a loop of what-ifs that has no exit. We aren't seeking clarity, we're just seeking a fake sense of control over a world that is inherently uncontrollable. Everything in life has a price, and the price of overthinking is the loss of the now. We pay with our real time to buy a hollow sense of security. We become analysis rich, but experience poor. But the breakthrough doesn't come from staring closer at the problem. Clarity doesn't always come from thinking. More often, clarity comes from distance. Think of a massive painting. If you stand an inch away from the canvas, all you see is a blur of paint. You have to step back to see the masterpiece. In life, distance is your greatest ally. By stepping away from the blueprints, you stop the mental engine from redlining. This is what we call the 24-hour rule, or the physical pivot. When the water is muddy, the most productive thing you can do is nothing. Stepping back isn't an act of quitting, it's the only way to gain the perspective necessary to see the path that was always there. The way out of the ghost house isn't to find the right door, it's to realize the walls are made of thin air. You break the cycle not by finding more answers, but by recognizing that your brain is simply misfiring, reacting to a shadow as if it were a beast. Stop stirring. Stop simulating. To heal the mind, you must return to the reality of the physical world. The only certainty you will ever find isn't at the end of a thought process, it's at the beginning of an action. Put down the blueprints. Let the water settle. The path was always there. You were just too busy thinking to see it. The lingering questions. How much of your life have you spent preparing for tigers that were never there? If you stopped stirring the water right now and stepped back, what's the first thing you would finally see clearly? If you've been caught in the analysis trap, tell us one thing you're ready to stop stirring in the comments. Let's find some distance together. For more deep dives into the mind, subscribe to the Mind Echoes. Until next time, be kind to your mind.